So in this video guys, we will see that what is the central limit theorem, which is also called CLT. So CLT is a fundamental concept in a statistics that describes the distribution of sample means of random variable, especially when the sample size is sufficiently large. Okay, it is crucial principle in inferential statistics and hypothesis testing. So we will see the explanation that how can it's be approaching thing. So first step one is like understanding random variables. So what are the random variables? Then we will find out what is the basically central limit theorem. Okay, so a random variable is a variable whose values are outcomes of a random phenomenon. It can be discrete like the number of heads in multiple coin tosses, or continuous like the height of a person. Okay, so this is called a random variable. We already see a example. Now the step two, understanding sampling. What is the sampling? So in the statistical analysis, we often take samples from a population to make inferences about the entire population. The sample is a subset of individuals or observations from the larger group. Okay. Now step 3 says that the defining the central limit theorem, which is CLT. So now we will easily learn what is the central limit theorem, which states that if you have a population with any shape of distribution, not necessarily normal means distribution, so the distribution of the sample means will be approximately normal given a sufficiently large sample size. Okay, so the key components of this CLT theorem is like two things which we need to know, is that first is random sampling and second is sample size. So random sampling says that it must be clear randomly from the population, and the sample size should be sufficiently large. A common rule of thumb is that we need to learn is that sample size of 30 or more is often considered large enough, but this can vary depending on the underlying distribution of the population. Okay, so this theorem is this theorem contains two components, random sampling and sample size. Okay, and step 5 says that importance of the central limit theorem. So why we need a central limit theorem, why we are using this theorem. So the CLT is essential because it allows us to make inferences about population parameters using the normal distribution, as we previously discussed, even if the population distribution is not normal. Okay, this is the very common thing we need to know about the central limit theorem. It is particularly useful when dealing with means of samples, providing a basis for hypothesis testing and confidence interval calculations. So these are the two important things about the CLT. Now step 6 means the chapter 6 basically formally stating that the central limit theorem. Okay, so CLT can be mathematically expressed as follows. Like if x is a random variable, first of all we already discussed about a random variable. So let's suppose x is a random variable with any distribution like mean and standard deviation. We can use these two things. Like then the distribution of the sample mean, which is x bar, will approach a normal distribution with mean mu and standard deviation sigma divided by square root of n as the sample size n increases. Now application in practice, to apply the CLT, what we have means first we need to collect a random sample from the population. Now second thing, we need to calculate the sample mean. So there are the different applications we can use to apply the CLT. Repeat this process numerous times. This distribution of the sample means will be approximately normal. Now the practical example we need to see that, like imagine if you want to know the average height of people in a city. Like suppose you are living in Los Angeles and you want to know that the average height of the people in a city. Now instead of measuring everyone, you take multiple random samples. That is what statistics says. Calculate the mean height in each sample and observe that the distribution of these means follows a normal distribution. Okay, so according to this CLT, understanding and applying the central limit theorem is a crucial and making statistical inferences and drawing conclusions about a population based on the sample data. So this is the CLT theorem which we discussed today. So I hope you can understand this thing, and if any paid assignment, if you want any paid assignments, DM me on WhatsApp this number. And thank you guys for watching this video.